Good morning and welcome to this weekly Love and Gratitude series episode. As always, I'm grateful to share with you what I shared in French. Today we embark on a profound exploration of something I sometimes speak of and that is not clear for many. The two thought systems presented in A Course in Miracles, for example. So the thought system of the ego and the thought system of the higher self. These are not merely abstract concepts, but they are the very framework through which we create, we perceive, and we experience reality. So, as we delve into this, I invite you to reflect deeply on the lens through which you see the world. For perception is not reality, it's a choice. In A Course in Miracles, we are told every decision you make stems from what you think you are and represents the value that you put upon yourself. Are we identifying with the small self, some call it the small mind, or the ego based mind that thrives on fear? Or are we embracing the vastness of our divine essence or higher self? We actually do both without knowing it until we know it. So today, let us seek clarity. And with clarity, let us step into the truth of who we are. So let's talk about the ego based mind and the illusion or reality, or what I call the ego reality. So it's clear. The ego is often misunderstood. It's not inherently evil or something to be eradicated, as I mentioned before in other videos, because it is actually the part of our earthly existence. It is the physical mind that allows us to perceive our lives and function in this three dimensional world. It categorizes, analyzes, and is the identity we carry in the material realm. In this sense, the ego based mind is a tool, neutral in itself. It's like the projector allowing you to see what you experience. And those things are in their finite state, they are the results. However, the problem arises when the ego is left unchecked, dominating our thoughts with its fear based illusions and data from our subconscious, our personal database, where everything is recorded. And the fear based illusion or ego reality is the negative ego, the mental space where fear, doubt, lack, and separation lead. In the Gospel of Thomas, we can read, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I explained this a few times before. The ego, unchecked and left in control of your mental space, becomes a prison of limitation, convincing us that we are small, powerless, and at the mercy of external circumstances, that we are the victim of our lives. Even if we might think that we can control what we manifest, we are still believing we are somehow the victim of our lives when the ego-based mind controls our thoughts and our mental space. The ego-based mind believes that the reality we see with our eyes, our ego reality, is what's real. So the ego-based mind tells us that we must prove our worth, that love is conditional, that success is measured by the world's standards to be accepted, and thrive in this ego reality because it makes external condition the measurement tool for everything. It thrives on comparison, judgment, and control. And that's why it whispers, you're not enough. You must achieve more, be more, have more to be worthy. Because its worthiness scale is from external elements. And so we chase illusions, seeking fulfillment in places where true satisfaction cannot even be found. But there's another way. a higher way, if I can call it like that. It's the thought system of the higher self. So the higher self is the aspect of us that is eternal, wise, limitless. It's our essence. We are spiritual or energetic beings experiencing a physical life. And this thought system does not operate from fear, but from pure, unconditional love. It does not grasp for any kind of validation, but it rests in the certainty of its divine nature. It knows. The thought system of the higher self recognizes that we are already complete and perfect, not ego based perfect, according to the ego, because the ego is never satisfied. But yes, we are perfect, not ego based perfect. There's a nuance. Think about it. True power is not found in external accomplishments, but in alignment with our inner truth. Being our full potential, it does not mean performing miracles on command, or succeeding at everything we touch, or moving from wonder to wonder. It's about fully inhabiting our divine essence, living from inspired action after inspired action, flowing with the natural rhythm of the universe, its law of order, which is not the order the ego wants, and embracing all that we are with unconditional acceptance of all that is. The Bhagavad Gita reminds us that you have the right to work, but never to the fruits of work. You should never engage in action for the sake of reward, nor should you long for inaction. This quote teaches us that we are meant to take action with dedication and purpose because we are called to do so. And we can do it with a knowingness that is for an expansion outcome, but without attachment to the outcome. Too often we do something thinking of the result and how we will be happy with the result, and hope that it will help us in some personal way, even if it's helping others. We are not seeking the right part of the work. True fulfillment comes from engaging fully in the present moment, not from seeking rewards or avoiding effort. This wisdom aligns with A Course in Miracles, which teaches that the ego clings on outcome, while the higher self moves in pure trust, unattached to results. We know there will be results. We let them go, we let them be. So, how do we step away from the fearful chatter of the ego based mind and into the expansive peace of a higher self? Well, the answer is awareness. Yes, it's that simple. The simple act of noticing which thought system we are engaging with shifts our experience. When fear arises, pause. Ask yourself, who is speaking right now? Is this thought aligned with unconditional love, or is it rooted in some fear, even if it's hidden behind another feeling? Ask yourself. If we let the negative ego control our mental space, we become slaves to its illusions. But when we choose the higher self, we surrender to a wisdom beyond our limited perception. We move not from desperation, but from inspiration, not from force, but from flow. The mental space is like a container. It can only hold one frequency at a time. Just like the light and the darkness cannot occupy the same space simultaneously. Thoughts from the ego based mind and thoughts from the higher self cannot coexist in the same moment. Each thought we entertain is aligned with one of these two systems, shaping our perception. If our thought arises from fear, such as self doubt, judgment, or anxiety, it belongs to the ego based mind, reinforcing separation and limitation. But the moment we choose a thought of unconditional love, trust, and inner peace, we shift into alignment with our higher self. connecting to truth, wholeness, and possibility. There's no alternating schedule where we spend an hour with one thought system and then we switch to the other. It doesn't work like that. Each thought is a decision, and we choose to follow that thought or not. We choose to think it or not, to feed it or not. Imagine standing at a crossroads with each passing moment. One path leads to expansion, clarity, the other contraction and illusion. So the power lies in our awareness in choosing again and again the thoughts that reflect our highest truth. It's a choice. Jesus, a master of divine wisdom, said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." This kingdom is not a distant place, but a state of being. It is here now, always accessible when we choose love over fear. That's what it is. This quote beautifully reinforces the idea that our mental space is shaped by the thought system we choose. It was not referring to a physical place, but to a state of being, a state of consciousness that is always available to us. This kingdom, the realm of peace, clarity, and divine truth, is accessible when we align our thoughts with love rather than fear, when we follow the path to our higher self, the higher self thought system. Since only one thought system can occupy our mental space at a time, choosing the higher self means stepping into the realm now, in the present moment. When we entertain thoughts of unconditional love, trust, and unity, we are already dwelling in this kingdom. But when we let fear, doubt, and separation rule our mind or mental space, we step out of it. Not because it is disappearing, but because we have chosen not to see it. Just as turning on the light will dispel the darkness instantly. Choosing love reveals the kingdom that was always within us. And it's not an easy thing to do because we were conditioned from a very young age to believe what we see and believe what we were taught and believe all the negative emotions, they exist for real. That's what we were taught. Yet, the path to fully embracing this truth is one very few will take, not because it's hidden, but because it requires the courage to unlearn mostly everything we have learned, to see beyond illusion, to understand illusion, to see beyond ego reality, to understand ego reality, and trust in what cannot be seen with the physical eyes, but can only be known through the heart. You know, every moment presents a choice, even when we are not facing something that looks like a decision to make. We can choose the thought we feed. We can listen to the voice of fear and judgment or the voice of love, unconditional love. By the way, being curious about something to learn more or understand without attachment, without attaching emotion, I should say, is not judging. It is simply curiosity. But the ego can sometimes distort curiosity, making you believe that you're seeking something, trying to understand, but meaning that you are not accepting something. True curiosity is about gaining insight and comprehension, while judgment is being curious with an agenda, like to change, criticize, or reject what is observed. Nuance. We can be prisoners of the ego's illusion or creators, co creators with the divine. We do not need to strive for ego based perfection because we are already complete. We do not need to seek validation, external validation, or even God's validation. We don't need that because we already are enough. We just move from experience to expand. So I invite you to choose today to see beyond the veil of illusion. Let us quiet the fearful voice of the ego and open our hearts to the guidance of our higher self more often. It's work in progress. While we strive to listen to our higher self, we must also recognize that the ego based mind has its place. It allows us to navigate this physical world, processing experiences, and function in our daily lives. The goal is not to eliminate it, but to ensure it serves rather than controls, acting as a tool rather than a master. That's what the saying was about the two masters. You choose which one to follow. Let us move not from reaction, but from presence, as best as we get. Not from fear, but from love and unconditional love. Remember to always breathe in, to let go of all your ego based thoughts and vision, to see from your soul, and to love out. Thank you for joining me again this week, and I hope you liked my love and gratitude series as much as I do. Have a beautiful day. See you next week.
If this reflection resonated with you and you feel called to deepen your practice, I invite you to explore the e-guides or spiritual mind treatments, especially designed to support your journey. You can also join the membership to access all these resources for free. And if you simply wish to give in gratitude, donations are always welcome with love. Simply follow the links in the description. However you choose to engage and share, know that your presence and devotion to your path are truly appreciated.